more than providers. Confronting the hidden cost. Now you might ask me, what kind of hidden cost are we talking about, Julian? The hidden cost. See, like when you talk to enough men or you coach enough men, you start to understand that as a man, well, most men, what we want is we want our ceiling to be our kids' floor, right? We want for them to have more than what we had when we started. So we work, we create, we build, we work, we create, we build, we do what others are not willing to do to get what others are not going to get. We're competitive. We're willing to put this body in a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort. We're willing to be uncomfortable, to be able to get the bag, to get nicer things. We are just wanting to protect and provide because we want more for them. But there's a hidden cost. And the hidden cost is simple. It's simple. You can have all those things. You can give them private school. You can give them private lesson. You can give them tutors. You can give them vacations. You can give them amazing extracurricular activities. You can give them all that stuff. All of it. There's a couple of things that's not going to change. And what it's not going to change is that if you are not willing to face the fear, the trauma that you have in your life, that sometimes you inherited from your own dad, that your dad inherited from his dad, or maybe his mom, if you're not willing to go and face that through a lot of different channels, through therapy, through a coach, through a medicine journey, if you're not willing to go there and face those so that you can transform them and not transfer them to them, everything that you're doing doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You hear so many stories of people that just like, they gave everything to their kids and then their kids still ended up on drugs, depressed, high anxiety, and in some instances even commit suicide. Because the parents were never willing to go there. Never willing to come to their kids and say, hey, this is what happened. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking. The other day I put that on and it just felt right. So today I'm putting it on again. And so here it is. The kid is there and the parent is unwilling to go and say, hey, most of my life I struggle with this. And I want to make sure that you don't feel this. For me, I've shared it before. Most of my life, until in my 30s, I identified what it was. For me, it was feeling inferior. And because I felt inferior, I built something to make me elevate and feel superior. Now, that was there to protect me. But that wasn't the right thing to do. That was just there to protect me because I did not want to be made feel less than. Right? Because for me, it goes inside of our mixed heritage. Where black people will tell me I'm white. White people tell me I'm black. And then I'll be in this weird place and I feel like I have a place to be. And so I just said, you know what? Like, I'm going to create this. To protect that little kid that I was. And so guess what? My kids are going to have it. Until I was able to get to this place of understanding that most of my life I have acted out of as soon as I feel like I'm inferior because of what you say or what you do, I'm acting. And for me, it's always been with my hands. I can communicate really well, so I would just go and fight. When I was little, fought a lot. And when I became an adult, you can't fight as much anymore. And so it became just other tactic. I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to ignore you. Or I'm going to attack you back with my words. And sometimes that will happen at work. Sometimes that will happen at home. But that doesn't make a great husband. It doesn't make a great dad. But when I identified what it was, and I was able to go back down the line inside of my lineage to understand where did I come from, I understood what it was. And I started to see like how others have struggled with that same aggression, that same level of feeling less than. If I ever feel less than, then I'm going to attack back. But also start to see inside of my kids. I have 6 kids. I have a 13, an 11, a 9, a 7, a 5, and then a 1-year-old. 4 boys. And I started to see my boys just acting out of anger as soon as they felt like somebody's trying to make fun of them. Somebody's trying to put them down. Somebody's trying to belittle them. As soon as they felt like somebody was trying, right away. And I was like, wow, here they are. 13, 11, 9, 7, and 5. And already they're exploding. And so I understood that, yes, it does get transferred. If it doesn't get transformed, if it doesn't get spoken about, if it doesn't get explained, it gets transferred to them. And they don't even know why they're so aggressive. They don't even know why. They don't like when people just make fun of them or feel like they're smaller or weaker or they don't have the same thing as they explode. And so I had to explain to them, hey, this is how I felt when I was little. And so, I had, for my kids, I wrote a little book. I wrote a little kids book, a quick little kids book just for them to understand, how I felt. Told stories that they were like, no, it didn't happen. I'm like, yes, it did. And most people didn't even know they were happening, right? I shared a story with them. I was like, when I was little, people were having jokes. And like they would say, hey, if everybody go back to their country, black people will go, or their continent, black people will go to Africa and white people will go to Europe. But you guys, you mixed kids, you'll go in the ocean. And I laughed, but on the inside, I just felt like it was true. I just didn't have a place. I didn't have a place to call home. Although my home was everywhere and I was a mix of both, I was a bridge, I still felt like, you're right, I don't. And then in my little kid's mind, I'm still analyzing how a dog that is full bred is just more valuable than one that is mixed. And so I internalize that, right? I'm sharing that with them because they're mixed. With me and their mom. Their mom is white. And so I know that deep inside they're having those questions. Because sometimes when people see us, basketball practice, dance competitions, they're like, is that your dad? Your dad, really? Because we don't look the same. And I know that deep inside, they're processing it. Like, what does that mean? Who am I really? Because I knew that I processed that to some extent. Right? And so whenever you're looking at being more than a provider, think of that. Don't think of, I'm giving them a shelter, I'm giving them private lesson, I'm giving them private school, I'm giving extracurricular activity, I'm giving them all this stuff, I'm making sure that they're taken care of if I'm not here anymore. Don't think of all that, because to some extent it doesn't matter. What matters is like what you're passing on that they cannot see but are feeling, and that you're not willing to address. Addictions, feeling of inferiority, all that stuff. If you're not willing to have this conversation or do the hard work that it takes to transform it, you're going to transfer it to them. And maybe you're not at home as much as I am. I'm an entrepreneur, so I have a little more freedom in what I do. But maybe you work 9 to 5 and it becomes 9 to 10, 9 to 8 because you keep on working, because you want to advance, because you want a better life for them, right? You want your ceiling to be their floor. And so you grind. So you're not quite seeing what I'm able to see every day, which is like, Julian, this needs to be transformed so it doesn't get transferred to them. You're not quite seeing it yet. And sometimes when they become teenagers and it starts to come back in aggression and fights and and or just anxiety and depression, and and having to sedate them so that they feel better, then at that point you're gonna understand, like, wow, I just needed to go and fix this. And now it becomes harder. Can't remember who said it. They said that it is easier to heal a kid than it is to heal a broken man. And when I heard that, because I work with men, when I heard that, it just kind of broke my heart a little bit. Because I've known many men that just didn't fully know why they had the anger that they had, why they had the addiction that they had, that they thought deep inside that it was them. And the only thing they wanted was to provide for their family. The only thing they wanted is to give a better future for their family. But they just didn't know why they had this struggle for so long. And it was because the people before didn't know, because they were grinding so much. They wanted their ceiling to become their kids' floor. And it became it. But their kids just received something else that now they're struggling to do. And now they're having this anger issue, or they have just this sadness or this depression, or, they don't know how to communicate anymore. So if that's you and you connect with this, reach out, because you're not alone. I know you might feel alone, but you're never alone. You've never been alone. You're just not willing to reach and say, hey, yes, I'm messed up right now. Right now I'm a little bit lost. I just need some guidance. I need a community. I need other men's to be around. I need a brotherhood that may or may not be my family, because iron sharpens iron. In a space that you feel safe, where you can share and release. So listen, if that's you, reach out. It's that simple. If that's you, reach out. If you don't have kids yet, reach out. So that whenever you start to have your kids, that you don't have to go through that. Because it is much harder to go through that whenever you have kids already. Because the train is already on its way. It's already moving. You only have it by 18 years, right? In my case, I have 5 with one left, 7 with the other, right? I can go down the line, but sometimes it gets accelerated because of the oldest one, right? The younger ones are learning from the oldest one faster. So, listen, signing out. Love it, Gab. Yep. And a lot of people don't. They forget to do any kind of therapy, but also instead of like personal work for yourself, to be able to do, to be able to go and heal current trauma, past trauma, and things that you don't even know is there until you do a lot of heavy work. Love you guys. It's Julian Marion signing out. Saying remember to release it. That means the emotions, the anger, that you think you know better. Sometimes go back to being a baby that knows nothing. That's what a coach told me before. And I was like, man, I love it. Be a baby that knows nothing. Release it. Be seen. Don't hide. Things are bad. Show up. You feel strong? Show up. You feel weak? Show up. Because that's life. It has all of those different moments. And until then, talk to you soon. Peace.